Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. But your boy Road Dogg here with the man, the legend, the guy that keeps adding to his fabulous resume of getting beat by a one-legged man in a BMX contest to breaking the rib while fishing, the king himself, King Karl. How you doing, bud?
Yo. How are you, Road Dogg? What's going on, my brother?
Well, my resume is not nearly as impressive as yours, but I push forward anyways.
Did you see on Facebook somebody put on the private group a picture of a guy? He's riding a bike with one leg. I think he got knocked over or something. He jumps back on and starts wheeling away. He's like, "This is the guy who beat Karl in the BMX race. One leg." There you go, bud.
Oh my God. It's a legendary tale now. This is it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. When Rad Part 2 comes out, you will be the I guess not the star. You might be like the grandfather or something. I don't know. Telling
something. Let's go with that.
Anyway.
All right, buddy. What do we got, man?
Questions? Good questions here for you. I'm going to just come firing right out of the gates here with a really beauty of a question here. What is the importance of a marketing hook to a business coach?
Marketing. The importance of a marketing hook for a business case. So I think we got some folks listening that might not be as familiar. So a marketing hook, think of it like as an upfront offer on steroids. A hook, like when you're, let's put it this way. If I'm driving traffic, like I drive a lot of traffic on online, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. What I start with is a hook. If I don't have a good hook, it's just not happening. Or think of it as three steps: hook, story, offer, right? So your hook is your hook. Your story is, what you're up to. And then your offer is download this, opt in for my webinar, for my live event, what have you. So think of it as an offer again on steroids. I would dare say, I think it's a really good question because it's something worth not only getting right, but I think it's almost worth something obsessing over. If you get the hook right, it can totally change things. Like, a hook for Russell Brunson is, what is it? You're one funnel away. Or like back in the day when I was driving traffic online, I built a very successful business coaching company. And then I was like, look, I'm going to make this internet work. I'm hell or high water. And then so I had to, again, I was driving a lot of traffic. I was going to make this thing work. I build membership sites and drive traffic and plug people in at $100 a month and then upsell them into other programs. So my original hook was, how I earned $187,000 in my first 9 months online as a coach. That was the first one. And then I built a large database and only, a few hundred bought. And then I had 10,000 people that didn't buy or whatever the number was. And then I drove it. So the second one I drove traffic to was a follow-up to that because I went to them and I did a little bit of a survey and what is it that you're looking for? And of course, they're trying to turn Google into money. So it was how I generated 250 hot new coaching leads in 90 days using Google. That's it. So that was the follow-up. And then today, if you meet us and all the coaches that work with us, what we train them on is they can find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. Okay, so those are three examples of hooks. And by the way, if you're a business coach, you could create hooks and offers until you're blue in the face for the next 10 years. And I would challenge you that you will never come up with a better hook than you can find anybody $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising, which is my little plug for anybody listening. You should be working with us. So that's a pretty damn good hooker. I remember that David Fry, some of you guys may or may not have heard of him, a great guy. And, Reese, I don't know if he a friend, but certainly someone, we go back and forth. We don't have beers every weekend, but, a good guy. Keep in touch with him. I know he did send out cards very, very successfully. I mean, I'm just going to freestyle this. I can't remember quite what it looks like, but he had like something, his hook was, it was more of a bit of a story, a little bit longer than ideal, but it was like the number one way small business owners get new customers is through referrals. You already know that, but after asking, and I don't know, thousands or tens of thousands or thousands of business owners, if they have a system that consistently generate referrals every month, 90% of them say no. So imagine all the business you'd be missing out on day after day. And imagine how much business is getting missed out by others day after day. They're not following up with you. So I've got an inexpensive way and a simple solution with, that anybody could implement almost immediately. That's almost totally automated that would be able to solve that problem. If I had that solution, would you be willing to take a look? I made a little bit of a meal of that, but the bottom line is he's going, referrals is the number one way to grow a business. You already know that. I've got a system to make it consistent. And then pretty much everybody said yes to that. And he basically get them on the phone. They didn't notice he didn't say anything about send out cards. That was his solution. Nobody gives a crap about that. Huge mistake, especially coaches, like analytical types and non-marketing types. You create a hook and then you sit there and you want to talk about your software. Again, you see any of the lead generation that I do online, like I'm not sitting there talking, for the most part, I'm not talking about software. What I'm talking about is a consistent way to get coaching clients, because that's the conversation in their head. That's what folks are looking for. Not looking for money. They're not looking for this. They're not looking for that. What they're really looking for is a consistent way to get clients. So that's what we advertise. And then, the sales force goes to work and we close what we close, right? Which is the full-blown system. Another, no doubt, everybody's heard, FedEx, when it absolutely positively has to be there the next day, something like that. Like, again, that's a hook. Domino's, what was theirs back in the day? Everybody's heard these. I know that, but it's powerful to understand, the best in the business. And that was, piping hot pizza in 30 minutes or less, or it's free, something like that. And of course they had a car accident, had to shut that down. But that would be an example of a very successful hook. Or one that I didn't copy it, but I leveraged it was, what's the guy's, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like, send me to any city in the United States, take away my wallet, give me $100, I think it was, for living expenses. And in 72 hours, I'll buy I'll own a piece of real estate without putting any money down, something to that effect. And then I leveraged that, and I made it drop me in any city with $100. And in 4 days, I will have a local live event filled. And on my 5th day, I'll have 2 high-end coaching clients. Again, it was worded a little bit differently than that, but obviously I leveraged, the one where, drop me in a city with $100 and I'll own a property. And I said, drop me in a city with $100 and I'll have a full local live event and 2 high-end coaching clients by Friday. I think if you actually go to my personal website, you can see that right there. But anyway, so there's lots, like anti-aging, how to stroke wrinkles out of somebody's face, or one that we've gotten as part of our training. You got a cosmetic surgeon, and he's doing mummy makeovers for a living. What he says to his ideal audience, like, you get inside their head and what they're saying. And it's like, how'd you like to get the body back you had before you had kids? I mean, it's a home run. So bottom line, so the importance of a marketing hook, I can't stress enough the importance of it. Like I said, to the point where it would be worth something that you kind of obsess over a little bit. Curiosity is a huge, when you hit it, like when I say that I'm going to find somebody $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising, obviously it's hard for somebody not to be curious. Again, I've always said, like, I could say that to Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, Mark Cuban, whoever, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't hear that and then go, how the heck does he do that? Right. Well, if they say that, the curiosity is like a magic. It's a superpower for closing, or for not so much closing, but for getting coaching appointments and getting in front of people and getting them on the phones. You're always trying to evoke curiosity. So I hope that helps. And I had a saying that I used to say a lot back in the day. I guess I'd maybe even say it nowadays, but it's change your offer, change your life. But I used to find myself saying that a mad amount back in the past. So I think that's kind of relative here. Obsessing over a hook is well and truly worth doing. You should be creating one for yourself if you're a business coach, and you should most definitely be helping your clients do it if you're working with business owners. So there's my answer, Road Dog. I hope that's helpful, bud.
What was that about online? Give them what they want. I'll tell you what people don't want. They don't want your hockey picks. That is for sure.
I suck. Oh my God, it's embarrassing.
Oh my God. It's like for a guy that played hockey at a pretty decent level, a guy that knows quite a bit about hockey, like your picks are bad, your team is bad. It's carrying over to football because you're a Dolphins fan. Like, what's next?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. But I seriously am. Like, I am that bad at it, right? Like, I'm picking, if you go to my personal Facebook profile, you'll see that. And I picked, so for the time somebody listens to this, it might be decided, but I have picked the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. So let's put it out there now publicly. And if you are a betting man, I'm going to encourage you to go straight to the Dallas Stars because I'm telling you,
but there's still a chance. The problem is they have to win 6 out of the next. If you're saying in 6, like they're already down 1. Anyways, let's go Stars. Here's rooting for. By the way, did you know that there's actually 1 Kelowna Rocket on the Tampa Bay Lightning and 2 of them on the Stars?
And so one of them lives on your street, shit.
This is a true story. So I'm hoping that Dallas wins the cup and I get to celebrate with my neighbor, Mr. Blake Como. So, anyways, all right. No one cares about our hockey stories except for you and I, but we don't listen to our own podcast on a repeat. So then what's the point? All right. You mentioned something in regards to software. So somebody just wrote a question here that said, my client is in the process of creating some new products, software. Is there an acid test that you run products through prior to creating them? Fantastic question.
Is there an acid test? I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. The old pH.
The guy wearing the acid wash jeans with the acid test.
Yeah, man. But how did you know? Like you're not here live, man. How do you know I'm wearing acid wash jeans? Look awesome.
Listen,
okay, so here, acid. So look, does it make? There's an old saying you probably heard. Does it make the boat go faster? Again, I would just go back into. Remember, most business owners are looking for ideas. What you really want to be doing is you got to change your spidey senses to look for problems. So, does the software solve a problem? And then the question is, how big is that problem? And then how many people have that problem? And the answer to those 2 questions will probably give you a good indication as to how far you're going to get. I mean, you mentioned software. So Google, here's like again, I'm building, profit acceleration software. We just finished digital acceleration software, which is in beta with a few of our clients right now, which will be released, I would say, in the next 14, depending upon how that goes, but 14 days it'll be rocking. But so here's something that Google do. They refer to it as the toothbrush test. Okay. So what that means is how often you use your toothbrush. You use it twice a day. So if you don't use it twice a day, Google won't build it. Okay. So think of Gmail, think of Google Calendar, think of Google Maps, which again, and you may or may not use twice a day, but when you do use it, right? The idea is that, if you're driving around a lot, I guess, again, Google Maps would be something you'd be using on a regular basis. I personally don't drive all that much. So, you know what I mean? So bottom line, what am I saying? The toothbrush test. So anything that, search, anything that Google works on, if you don't use it twice a day, they don't build it. So that might be that might fall into your acid test, and it would certainly be, a powerful thing to do. In fact, I'll tell you something interesting I read, it was an audio that I watched. It was Steve Jobs recently, and he was talking about a study that they did on transportation back in the 90s. It was a little more complex than this, but they were trying to work out different ways to speed transportation without using locomotion, right? Like without using automobiles or, trains and planes. So they were basically, they measured the speed of different animals. And of course, men fell into that, birds and horses, etc. Well, the condor was a winner by a long way. And then man was roughly halfway down the list. But then what he said is luckily someone tried man on a bicycle, right? Well, man on the bicycle beat everything else, like crushed the Condor's results. And like, what does that mean? So like basically what you want to be thinking about, I don't know if it's acid test worthy, but like you want your client to be building things that will amplify man's ability to solve a problem. Does that make sense? And I'm going to assume that artificial intelligence is on another level, times 10. Like, again, some of your clients might be working on artificial intelligence and things that include it, but I would dare say not right now. But in 5 years' time, I think that'll be a different conversation. But I want you to be thinking about how do you take man, like what we've done, like I've built profit acceleration software with the goal is to take a business coach so he can sit down with a business owner and it amplifies his ability to ask the right questions in the right order. And then it populates a roadmap through the 497 million algorithms, like sequences. It basically populates this roadmap. So that's the goal, is that the software is making the boat go faster for a business coach so that they can get to the solutions faster, that they can get to the revenue generating activity faster and in a better order. And then of course it populates a roadmap that they, our coaches will then use with a business owner. So again, amplifying and speeding up that process. So much like the bicycle to the man, you want to be thinking about, does it make the boat go faster? I think is kind of the acid test question. So yeah, I think in Tesla, like if you look at Tesla, like they're in, like I really believe to a large degree, they're in the business of like the battery business, right? So you really break it down. It's like, what business are these people really in? And ultimately you want to be solving problems, not looking for ideas, good, cool, sexy ideas. There's all kinds of mousetraps out there that work significantly better than the old school mousetrap that just don't get anywhere. You got to make sure that these things are solving problems. So I think, does it make it go faster? And then again, amplifying your ability to, have humans, sounds a bit weird, but, amplifying humans' ability to get to a result. So that's what I'd say, bud, but make sure it's solving a problem and not a great idea. Great ideas, that's going to fail the acid test every day, bud. There you go, man.
Beauty. Hey, so you're getting like more and more investment questions lately, and I really don't like to use many of them, but here's one that I do like. The question was, do you think real estate is a good investment opportunity today? Obviously, I'm curious, like what your thoughts are. I know I have mine based on where we're at. What do you think?
Yeah. So yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm hearing that. I think we've kind of put that out there a few times and different podcasts. So look, first of all, the answer is not really. And it's not to say don't buy a house. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying buy it. I'm not saying don't buy it. I think it's a great way to save money in a lot of different ways. But basically, real estate doubled every 10 years for about a century. And you just go back and, feel free to go and test that. But that's what it looked like. But you got to understand that interest rates were like 5 to 18 to 20% over that time, right? So interest rates now, depending upon where you live, but they are, so ridiculously, like money is so cheap nowadays that you're not going, in my opinion, and there's people significantly smarter and on higher pay grades than I will ever be, that would answer this question, I think, better than I. But my opinion, and I'm getting asked, so I'm going to give it to you, is that I don't think real estate is the best investment to move forward with. And, houses, like think of this, a house is a product that was created for a bank, right? It's not for families. That's what really, you got to understand that banks created this whole thing. And there's, I think maybe relevant, look, there's 3 ways to make money. There's business, real estate, and stocks. There's no other way to do it, right? Like I get a buddy, not so much a buddy, but I know a guy who, I'm going to his Halloween party and he won a $25 million lottery. So somebody says, yeah, but hang on, well, he made money, but that's a business. Like he bought a $10 ticket and won 25 million. That's just an insane return. There's 3 ways to make money: business, stocks, real estate. So I really want to encourage you, like real estate, you need 10 years or a boom, right? Which most people don't have. Stocks, you're betting on somebody other than you, right? Hate that idea. And then business, you could double your money every 30 days for the rest of your life, right? So the ultimate skill to learn, to train yourself on, to train your kids on, if you could have any impact on your local school, I just don't see how it doesn't make sense to teach people how, to buy, build, and sell businesses. It's the ultimate money-making skill. So maybe, and I would just say to the person who's asking this question, like, where am I investing money? What do I, what am I recommending, for my private clients and whatnot, and folks that I'm speaking to? Just think about it this way. Like, people are on sale right now. Doug, I know you're going to go where you're going to go with that. But I mean, like, staff, like people who you could hire for $100,000 are now available because, pandemic and the economy. And you assume that the economy is probably going to take a bit of a turn here, right? It's not going to be going so well for the next 12 months or whatever it's going to take. So people are on sale. So, you can hire somebody that you'd have to pay $100,000, 75, or somebody you'd pay 50, they have to pay them 30 or whatever the numbers are. It doesn't matter. It depends upon where you are. Like in Australia, you pay people significantly more than you do in the US, right? So like take all these numbers and play with them for your own market. But you should, what I would be doing is hiring staff members. Like if you are a business coach and you are a really good salesperson, you should hire someone to do the coaching. And if you are an unbelievable coach, and highly analytical, and when people work with you, you crush it with them, then you should be looking at taking on a salesperson, right? And then no matter what personality type or skill set you are, you should be hiring a virtual assistant to handle all of your mundane, day-to-day, manage your inbox, manage your calendar, that kind of thing. And you know that you can, for that, forget, $50,000 a year. You can get somebody to do that kind of stuff, because they're taking on multiple clients for ridiculously less. So I believe that you should really, and by the way, not just you guys, but now let's talk about your clients. Who are they hiring? And super duper important. One, this is so important. Your greatest successes will come through other people. Okay, so you really want to, spend time thinking about who are those other people, and then strategically and very consciously, choose that person. Like I just described, you're a hot salesperson, bring in an analytic. You're an analytic, bring in a creative. So I really want you to be thinking about, bringing in people that can help, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. An A+ staff member, okay, like A grade staff member, like kick butt staff member is worth like 5 to 10 average ones, right? So what am I getting at? Spend some time hire. And there's also a saying in a Chinese proverb, you get what you deserve. So don't think that your first hire is going to be amazing. And then when your first hire isn't amazing, you throw in the towel, right? That's an attitude for losers that don't get anywhere. So forget that. Do accept that your first one's not necessarily going to home run, but you need to know where you're going. You need to know what the bigger picture, what the ideal scenario looks like. And I really want you to be thinking about bringing on somebody who is just absolutely unbelievable, because that person, your greatest successes come through other people. I really think that bringing on staff members, training staff members, developing staff members, caring about those staff members, creating incentive programs for those staff members so that they're motivated is a ridiculously intelligent thing to do. And this is where I think that people, especially, business people who are the ones listening to, our podcast, they are the ones that, can most benefit from this. So, learn to take on staff members. Like I'd be investing in people is what I'm trying to say. So Road Dog, that is my answer, man. But no, I don't think that real estate is this is not where I'd be tying up oodles and oodles of money over the next period of time. But actually, I should finish this, and I've said this before, but I'll say it here again. What you're going to find is when the stock market tanks and hits its low, it's 12 to 18 months after that real estate should do the same. And again, you got to understand, even Warren Buffett can't predict this stuff properly, but I'm going on 100 years of data. That's what it tells you. So you might want to be thinking about that. Like I spoke to somebody not long ago, and he was thinking about, pulling a trigger on a real estate deal. And I said, dude, see that wallet? Go throw it in the lake, right? Like just get away from it, because right now is not the time to buy. So that, once again, these are my opinions. So what do you think, Road Dog? You like that? What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this over the weekend as well. Not so much in regards to residential real estate, but more commercial. Like little off topic here, but like I was in the mall, and depending, like there's that one side of the mall, it's just like there's like three shops that have already closed its doors, and you know it's only going to get worse. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, is traditional retail like, dying a slow death?
Ooh, but it was doing it before COVID, and this has just accelerated everything big time. So, like what you're saying, like investing, so there's residential and then there's commercial. Like commercial, ooh, it could be a potentially slippery slope. But it's not like, okay, so all this commercial real estate is just going to lie dormant for the next X amount of time, right? Like just, the Amazons of the world and the successful businesses of the world, there'll be ways for them to be able to monetize it, right? Like I could totally see how Amazon will end up with, storefronts of some description at some stage, and bloody big ones like Walmart, clearly. So no, I'd be commercial. If I was staying away from residential, I would stay further away from commercial, without doubt. Did I say that right? If I was staying away from some residential, but I would be staying further away from commercial for sure.
Yeah,
So
that's just interesting. Yeah, accelerating. That's a good way to put it, right? It's I guess exposing a lot of people inside of their business and what their weaknesses were, right? I guess that's a better way of putting
yeah.
it. Okay, now it's a little bit flaky. Is that the right? But hey, people ask questions. I may think they're weird, but you talked about it. So does that make them weird for asking more, or does it make you hard to say? Oh, Jesus. Okay, here we go. You wrote about a breathing technique you used to calm down. I didn't understand the reasoning. I know that technique just after reading that question. So please explain it a little more.
I don't know if I said breathing technique to calm down, but anyway, a breathing technique. So look, well, think about I would probably go in a different, hypnosis is up there with a superpower, right? Like how do they, like I've been hypnotized. Actually, one time I was at a show in Vegas. Actually, this guy became a client, if you can believe it. It was kind of cool. Actually, I think you saw him, Michael Johns, Road Dog. But anyway, so I was at a show where they're hypnotizing people on stage. Not everybody that goes on stage gets hypnotized. So they get the audience to do it. I'm sitting in the audience, and I got hypnotized from the audience. I wasn't even on stage. And he comes up and he grabs me and he pulls me on stage. So that will tell you my ability to get hypnotized and to relax. Apparently it's pretty good, because that's not the normal thing. Normally they take the chair away, right? But he's like, oh my God. But anyway, and we talked afterwards. We had a couple beers, and he's a real funny guy. But anyway, so what am I saying? If hypnosis can get you to the point where you'll dance like Pee Wee Herman and hug the person beside you and get up and dance at the snap of a finger, whatever, that's insanity. In fact, one of my clients is Marshall Silver, who's like world renowned hypnotist. He's been on Letterman. He's been on Howard Stern. He's been on all the big talk. He's been everywhere. I mean, it's a famous dude, right? End of story. And by the way, you watch this guy on stage. I mean, you just never, all you got to do is go to YouTube and watch him. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. So, and he's spoken to me a little bit about it, about the power and, how he uses it. So what he's done is he's taken his ability, like his hypnosis understanding and abilities and magic, and then he's taken that to the sales world and the business world to, move people out of their way and to, significantly increase their ability to close deals and, bring what they want into their world. But anyway, so if they can do that though, like just think of hypnosis as like it's on a whole nother level, but all it is really is breathing. Like the way that you hypnotize somebody is you just control the way they breathe. And they put themselves into a state of so much relaxation that again, they'll stand up and basically, start dancing like Pee Wee Herman. Like you calm down to the level where your brain just says you're good, right? Like in an email, this might actually be coming from an email that I wrote where I just kind of mentioned, I think it was in like one of the top sections, like prior to my anywho, right? Where I try to be clever, which I think sometimes I am and often I am not. But anyway, so it's 7-7-7, where breathe in for 7 seconds, you hold it for 7 seconds, and then you breathe out for 7 seconds. If you are in any state of panic or anxiety or whatever, if you do that, it'll calm you down instantly, like the end. And then, so some listening, like you might have, like I got a buddy who's got pretty bad ADD. And when I say pretty bad ADD, I mean like really bad ADD. The guy very much struggles to sit down for 2 seconds. He's got to get up and down. But like, if he were to take this, but it's easy for me to say because I don't have that manic ADD, right? But like, if he used that technique, it would absolutely manage his ADD. Like if you know somebody with ADD and you help them control their diet, like get the freaking sugar and alcohol out of it, and teach them, these types of, breathing techniques, it can do absolute magic. And if like you have a son or a daughter, you just, I think, I don't know, I don't want to, like, you're crazy not to, spend some time. That being said, if you've got 3 kids and one has ADD, like we know how challenging it can be. You're just so busy in day-to-day life, but I've got to tell you, before you put, pills in their mouth to calm them down, this, that, and the other, breathing techniques in their diet, it is really something that should be taken very, very seriously, because this isn't me. This is science. I mean, you go and research this, and again, people 10 times smarter than me talking about it. It's a game changer. So the bottom line is that, but maybe actually here's something else that I would encourage people to be thinking about. Like, okay, so I'm talking to business coaches and they're looking to elevate. They've got clients that they're looking to elevate. If you do 2 breaths through your nose and then 1 out through your mouth, so, and Tony Robbins has been talking about this forever, it actually takes you into what's called an elastic state, which is just, it's one of heightened awareness. You will learn more, you will do more. And it might sound ridiculous, but I do actually, before I listen to audios and before I listen to videos and before I do different things, and most definitely before I stand, get up on something that would resemble a stage, I absolutely do that. And it allows you to go, like, it puts you into a state of heightened awareness. So I'm just more aware of what the audience is doing and how fidgety they are and if they're grabbing for their phones, that sort of stuff. So I think that, like, if you were looking to, you're doing a program and you're looking to advertise online, like if you did that breathing technique for a couple minutes prior to starting, it will take you into a level of heightened awareness and you will learn at a higher level, right? Like I get asked all the time, Road Dog, right? Like you see the emails and you see all the comments, where do I learn all this stuff? How do I, whatever. Like I'm not some smart dude. I mean, it's amazing that I managed to get through high school. I barely skidded through. Again, some of my English teachers or math teachers from high school would literally fall over. To know that I know, like, that people, I don't know that I know that much, but I know that I read emails on a consistent basis to say, wow, you get a lot of content in between those ears. Well, how do I do it? It's just like, before I listen to something, I try my best, and I am so far from perfect on this, it'll blow you away. But I do try to get myself into that kind of elastic state, that state of heightened awareness before I listen to something that I know is going to be impactful. So who cares about me? You guys, I would encourage you to do that. And by the way, if you train your client to do that, like let's say, time to think is something I've talked about for a long time, TTT. So you go into a room, lights, not so much lights off, but, dark room, no damn phone, no anything. Don't be drinking water. Don't be getting up to go to the bathroom. Like look after all that stuff before you sit down and get dialed in on TTT. You put a question at the top of a page, and then just, a question to yourself, and then you go through and you answer it, and there is no bad answers. Like you literally write for about 45 minutes is a great time frame. The 45 minutes will go so fast, it'll blow your mind. But prior to doing that, before you do time to think and before you, do your question and go through the answers, you will get so much more out of it if you do that. But again, it's just 2 breaths through the nose, 1 out. So really, life is just about fundamentals, which means business is just fundamentals. Your clients' businesses are just about the fundamentals. Karate has 12 moves, and the world champion just does those 12 moves better than somebody else, right? So what could be more fundamental than breathing? And I think that, although again, I agree, I don't know that actually, no, I understand where that question comes from. And I think that it could be a little bit of magic for those that, buy into that heightened awareness thing, but don't listen to me. You know what? Go and try it. And then maybe it's for you. And I'm sure there's people out there that it doesn't work the way it does for me, but it definitely impacts me, and it allows me to get into a I think heightened awareness is like a really good way of describing what I feel happens when I do that breathing technique. And if you want to calm down, it's just 777. And I think it can be good. And we know that you're coaching clients. Why don't they listen to your videos? Why don't they do the homework? Why don't they make the calls? Why don't they send back the emails? Because, they're scramble. They're in that ADD mode. They're in the exact opposite of a relaxed, calm state. So I think that's a relative, I think that's a relevant thing to for everybody to digest. But I don't know if it's the best information we'll ever give. But there it is, Road Dog. That's my answer, brother.
This section has been brought to you by Karl's vitamin and supplement drawer. And holy smokes. I hear it accelerates if you wear a tin hat, like a tinfoil hat. Is that true?
When I do time to think, that's it, man. I wear a tin hat, yeah, tin little bit of tinfoil.
This is next up. But it's funny, you talk about breathing, just to actually kind of back up your nonsense here a little bit. In running, we call it circular breathing, right? So as much as you can, the more that your breathing is controlled, obviously, that just your performance is unreal. Like it's how it works too. Because
there you go.
For me, when I start, right, like I ran 19 kilometers on Saturday. The beginning, it's always going to be a bit chaotic just to sort of get going, because your body's like, what is happening right now? But typically for me, it's somewhere around, it's near the higher kilometers, right? Like for me, my sweet spot is at 10 miles, like at 16K, is when my breathing is on point. And it's just, my heart rate is low. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so there
you
are.
Road Dog, when you're doing jogging, I'm not sure if you're listening to, if you're listening to some audios and some, whoever it is that you're listening to, something about online marketing or whatever, I dare say at that 16-mile mark, like at that point, I believe that you're entering that heightened awareness kind of space, although you might be a little bit more exhausted. I don't know. It might work in the opposite, but I would dare say that you'd retain at a higher level there. That's my bet.
Yeah, my only problem is I know a lot of guys do the audiobooks. I just need the music, honestly, just to keep me going. It's one of those things, because there's certain songs that will come on, and next thing you know, it's amazing when you think the tank is empty, and it's like, boom, like it's unbelievable. But anyways, running, and really, by the way, I finished week 7 of my 18-week marathon training again. So on to week 8, we start today. So there's that.
You crazy man, Road Dog. You crazy man. I'm built like a fire hydrant. If I run a marathon, would not go well.
There are times I'm questioning my life decisions when I'm running. I'm not going to lie about that. Okay, so previously we have talked about books. We've talked about that in terms of your hit list, your top 10, if you will. Somebody asked just in regards to the best blogs to follow as a business coach. Do you have a general list there of what would be good for people to check out?
Okay, so the question is the best blogs to follow? Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, it says, what are the best blogs for me to follow as a business coach? It's a follow-up to your list of books.
First of all, Ray, I remember we did that. I didn't say Ray Dalio, the book Principles by Ray Dalio, which was a massive, normally it wouldn't matter, but it's that important of a book and that good of a book that I want everybody to hear, that I could not recommend that highly enough. Love it. So I don't know that I'm the best. Seth Godin, I go to his, he's, does something every day. Seth Godin's the one who, I do a daily email. Seth Godin was to a large degree the inspiration behind that, because I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. So pitter patter, let's get at her. I like Business Insider. I don't know that that's the best blog in the world, but I just find that they get interest. I find myself going to Business Insider on a regular basis. I see some, periodically, once a day, I will see an article that I think has some value and that I could learn something. What I would say is that, I not only do, I'm reading, I'm going audios and I'm going videos and I'm reading. I read like an unbelievable amount. Literally I will read for, I don't know, but for an hour or two today, almost guarantee it. in total. I'm not going to sit there and read for 2 hours straight. That's not the way it works, right? It's 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But like, not only do I read and like do everything, but like I vet the people who I'm listening to, which I think also is important. So I don't know if you're a business coach, like if you just go to the Six Figure Coach, or I think it might be on focus.com or no, actually, no, it's not on that. But karlbryan.com, whatever. Be easy to find, or just get my emails on a daily basis, which the blog is just my emails. But like, I don't know, I'm vetting everything for you. I am sifting through everything. So I think to a large degree, just leverage me. If that's your, maybe I'm not your stick, and that's totally fine too, by the way. But like, I'm not just putting stuff out there by accident. I'm not just, randomly pulling things from fresh air because I'm looking to hear myself talk. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find some really good information, and I try to take it and I try to put it into a slant for like a business coach, a business coaching company, and then most definitely, your business coaching clients, and how you can help them do that. So I don't know. I think you should follow some of my stuff. I would recommend, and obviously there's lots of it out there for free, including this podcast and the blog and the emails, etc. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. But the best blogs, I don't know, Seth Godin, I think, put some great content. But I think, again, see, this my thing with Seth Godin, like I actually talked to a guy about this not long ago, but I'm like, I really believe that if I'm a business coach, Seth puts some unbelievable stuff, and he's more philosophical than I will ever be in a million years. Like I'm really tactical, right? I'm like, take this, do that, make money. You know what I mean? I mean, it's an oversimplification for sure. But that, like Seth Godin, there's a lot of hairy, fairy, fluffy, like you said, flaky with the breathing question, with the person who asked the breathing question. I think that's a good question, and I hope we've provided some value there. But that's, Seth Godin is not talking specifically to business coaches. So I think it's important, to do that. So anyways, Road Dog, that's what I'm going to say. I don't know I'm the right person. I'm not sitting here, researching, looking for cool blogs. It's not what I'm doing, but I'm, reading through books and reports and all that sort of stuff on a regular basis. And I'm taking it and putting a slant for business coaches. So I hope that is helpful for folks, but that's my answer, buddy. I don't know if that's the best one, but there you go.
So, when I think of the outdoors, I think of Karl Bryan. I think of an outdoorsman. Yeah, I think of a hunter, a trapper. I think of
oh yeah.
And when
that makes perfect sense, Road Dog. I understand how you would think of me and think of a hunter, trapper.
Right? Like this is, well, again, we got to keep the Canadian stereotype alive. I think of like, who built the best igloo of all my friends? It's Karl Bryan. Like he's got this down. But anyways, the reason I go there is because somebody actually asked the question, are there hobbies you recommend for your client? And I'm sure that some of these will just naturally translate.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So building igloos, man. That's what I'm going to hang up from this podcast, and I'm going to build an igloo. So this is perfect. Now, hobbies. So what the question is? What hobbies that I recommend for my for coaching clients? Is that right?
Yeah, it just says for your clients. So I'm not sure if that would be for coaches or for actual clients.
Okay. So look, reading. The end. I just think I am personally obsessed with education, right? So I'm audio, I'm video, I'm reading, like I said, like today, I'll spend 2 hours trying to educate myself in some way, some of which will be insanely valuable and much of which will be an absolute waste of time. But that's why I never listen to an audio, a video, or read anything without either my phone or a pad of paper where I can, when I hear something that I like, don't think that you're magically going to come to you, because it is not. It may, but assume that it's not. Make sure you write that stuff down. So anyway, falling in love with educating yourself, I think would be a great idea. I don't know if that falls into hobby. I went fishing recently. I managed to crack a rib while fishing. So there you go. Not everybody can do that. But look, here's the problem. I'm sitting and one of the problems I have with it, I'm not, the outdoorsy, super duper active guy, but sitting on a chair for 5 hours, I don't have the best back in the world. So that adds a level of complexity to it. But sitting for 5 hours, I don't know that's the greatest plan. I was also flew a plane, which was insanely cool. I actually took off and I flew a plane, which I got to tell you is one of the coolest things I've ever done. But again, I don't know that that's the hobby that I'm going to recommend, because why? I'm sitting in a cockpit, right? maybe one day your goal was to own a fishing lodge, like the fishing lodge we were at, the guy who owns it, he's got a float plane, and he's actually has 2 fishing lodges, and he takes his float plane and goes from one to the other. And that's pretty damn cool. And then of course, because he's bringing people in and bringing in supplies, etc., you can imagine how much, how much money he could save as a result of that versus having to outsource all of that. So maybe if your goal is to own a fishing lodge one day, then all of a sudden flying a plane could be, somewhat of a better hobby. But more to the point, I think, look, hobbies at this stage of life. In fact, I actually thought about this again. I'm away and I'm fishing and I'm sitting in this damn boat for 5 hours. And the guys that I'm with, they want to go. This is my best friend, his older brother, and one of my best buds since we were like 5 or 6 years old. We're there fishing. I'm like, man, this isn't the best. Like, I want to go skiing. I want to go golfing. I want to go bike riding, going to the gym. Like, I think that, so if you're asking for hobbies that you would encourage your client to fall into, I think ones that are like active. I know, like with my daughter, right? I got a 7-year-old daughter, like she could go and, do sports, like let's say figure skating or something where I'm standing up. Well, I'm trying to get her into, like skiing. We go skiing a lot, right? Biking, we're out biking quite a fair bit. So I like doing things where I can do it with her, like golf. Like she's never played golf, but if we did golf, we could golf together. So I don't know. I think, and maybe what's relevant is that comes back to habits. You got to make sure that you've got good positive habits. And if you're fishing and you're sitting down for long periods of time, that could lead to, other areas of your life where you're sitting versus, being active. I mean, like what when you don't consciously come up with your habits, what happens? Like, addictions like social media, addictions like online gambling, or like I was on a plane, I was on the way back from fishing, and I see a guy playing, like right beside me, he's playing solitaire. Like he literally played solitaire for 2 straight hours on his phone, which is totally fine. And if that's his shtick and that takes him out of the real world, but I don't know, playing solitaire for 2 hours on the phone, I just, what I mean? That's just not something you're going to find me doing, right? I just find something a little more interesting than that to do. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting question. I kind of like it. I think it's a little bit outside the box. But yeah, and I think just, thinking about, so versus looking at hobbies, thinking about habits, right? And again, are you getting in the habit of sitting, like even in my office, right? Like when we do this like I'm standing right now and I'm walking around my office, right? So like when I'm working to a large degree, I spend a lot of time on the phone. I do not sit and talk on the phone. In fact, I get asked often why I don't do more video. And one of the challenges that I have with video, and I do plan to do a lot more in the future, but I like Zoom as an example. I can't stand Zoom because I got to sit there and stare at the camera when one of the things that I don't like to do is to sit for extended periods of time, right? So if I'm going to be on the phone, I could be up walking and getting a small amount of exercise and moving my body around. That just makes sense to me. So I don't know. Like I said, I like the question. I think consciously thinking about these things is powerful. And I like the idea of helping your clients, like coaching clients. I didn't really think of that before, but like, helping and guiding them in their hobbies. I think that that's powerful. And again, you got kids, you got grandkids, instead of them getting into sports, if you have a leaning, of course, you want them to do whatever the heck they want to do. But if you could lean them towards, skiing versus hockey as an example, like nobody loves hockey more than I do. But, you're standing and you're watching your kid for an hour and a half, whereas you're skiing, you're out there skiing with them. I think that there's some huge value. Maybe the answer is both, by the way, if that's, your kid wants to play hockey, but also take them skiing and do it as a family. But consciously thinking about these things, I think is powerful. So there you go, Road Dog. That's my answer, bud.
Well, you know that Zoom, once you get rid of your StarTAC flip phone, they actually have apps for Zoom. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but, I guess when you got a face made for radio, hey, man, like I hear you.
I do. I do. Shoot.
It is unfortunate, but, you make up for it in spades with your charming personality. So there is that, my friend.
That's it, Road Dog. Well done. I agree.
See, right there. I was going to ask you, what's the one thing? Know your strengths. There it is.
Thank you, Road Dog. You just ended the podcast for us, man. Work to your strengths. If you got a big nose and a pot belly and you're incredibly poor looking, get on the phone and audio. There you go.
I would say no belly button, but again, that's, Anyway,
don't freak out our listeners, Road Dog. Don't scare everyone.
By the way, I'm not sure if we just scare people off or just saying, oh, by the way, Carl's going to be doing all his Zooms with his shirt off. I'm not sure that's going to go over too well.
Now that would go poorly, let me tell you. That would, especially with my extra pounds I'm carrying. Oh my God. Freak everybody out.
Let's wrap this up. Can you close us out with giving our listeners your one thing they can do today from today's podcast besides keeping their shirts on? One thing. I don't know, we call it flaky, but I don't know. I think something, just understanding the fundamentals of the fundamentals. I'm kind of just reaching here, but like, I don't know, like, something like just, making a good, and by the way, if you want to, it goes to longevity, right? Like, again, that's very, stress. What does it do to your long-term health, right? And the answer is nothing good. Some people have significantly better, it's a lottery. You get significantly better health than others. But, breathing and just, consciously thinking about those types of things, what are they? The absolute basic fundamentals. I think that there's huge power of that. In fact, we got a bit of that today, like, the breathing and the hobbies. I think those are good and outside the box, different kind of question than how do I get clients and how do I sell local live events, etc. So yeah, man, I would say that. And then if they add to their fundamentals, remember, building a team. If you want to build if you just want to make 150, 200 grand a year, you just do it on your own. And, one coach with a virtual assistant can do that easily. Right. But you want to legitimately hit 7 figures. You want to be one of our unicorns and, make $1 million. You will not do that on your own. The end. You just won't. So I think being smart, making part of your fundamentals, things like breathing and educating yourself, consciously thinking about stuff, but, hiring staff members and learning to train and take them seriously and their development seriously and their training their training seriously and their incentives that you're putting in front of them seriously. I think that would be absolutely huge. And that's, again, don't listen to what I say. Look at what I'm doing. So I'm doing in my own world. So there you go, Road Dog. There was a few final thoughts, I think, in there, but that's what I got, man. And stay tuned, folks. Next week, Carl's going to break down the essential oils that he uses every single day.
I might, kids. I might.
Again, thanks everybody for tuning in to another great episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man on top of the hill, my boy King Carl. If you're not getting Carl's daily emails or you want more information on how to build your coaching company, visit focused.com and subscribe today. Also, if you enjoyed the podcast, please share with an existing coach or someone that you think would make a great coach, someone that loves Tony Robbins or a great salesperson, just a highly motivated type. And of course, we'd appreciate if you'd rate this episode, as we know that iTunes and Spotify give an insane amount of weight towards reviews. So please leave a review if you like what you heard. Well, that is it for another week, my friend. And remember, folks, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.